good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Myself Vaibhav. In today's session of Market Movers, we will be taking a look on the equity segment, in particularly the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and looking at its consolidation closer to 26,000 levels. I think this upward momentum is likely to continue, and as we are seeing in today's session itself, this upward momentum is likely to take Dow Jones Industrial Average higher from the current levels as well. So that's why the target is working out at the bare minimum closer to 27,000. And even in rest of the other major markets of the world, we have already seen the equity indices closing higher. Even if we consider the case of Asian trading session, most of the equity indices were higher, and the same momentum is also there in the European equity markets. We are seeing that Dow Jones DAX and the FTSE 100 both are trading higher, and also the CAC 40, the equity index for the France. And even now, as the US session has got underway, we are seeing that United States equity indices have closed one per have opened 1 percentage point higher, and this momentum is continuing. And now I feel that we can indeed look for some buying opportunities if we get any. But since this is the Friday's trading session, we will have to be careful. But still, we will try to figure out any opportunities which might come our way. If we consider the data docket, we got United Kingdom's retail sales earlier in the day, and here these numbers are of course quite dramatic. As you can see, the month on month reading is of 12 percentage point higher compared to the month of April. So here, after the resumption of economic activity, at least to some extent, we have seen the sales jumping by a record number, and we have seen these 12 percentage point move higher. But at the same time, the sales are not anywhere close to what they were in the pre-COVID days. And now, if we compare this month May's figure to the retail sales for the month of May 2019, then the decline is of 13.1%. So these are drastic numbers on that front. We also got the retail sales numbers for the Canada, but this data is for the month of April, so there is a time lag here. And as expected, we have seen substantial decline, and in terms of both year on year as well as month on month, there is a substantial decline. The year on year figure is of a decline of 32.5%, whereas in month on month terms, the retail sales have declined 26.4%. Moving on to the US trading session, we will need to be careful as we have important speakers from the Federal Reserve Board, and so we will need to watch out for while having any position in the currency segment as well as in the equity segment. Of course, I'm not really expecting any surprise which might move the markets too much, but you never know. So, and we can't really rule out any significant impact because of Federal Reserve Chairperson Mr. Jerome Powell's speech. He has already appeared before the US Senate Banking Committee, and there he underlined the need for continuing with the monetary policy support as well as the support on the fiscal front, as he is expecting that the US economy is likely to take at least more than a year to fully recover, and he's not really expecting any uptick, at least not in a significant manner. So because of that, he is batting for a continued support on the monetary as well as the fiscal policy front. Now moving to the technical segment, we will cover the Dow Jones Industrial Average and gold XAU in terms of USD. Let's start with the Dow Jones Industrial Average technical outlook. This is the daily time frame chart, and here we are seeing this positive momentum, and that has been there for almost 2.5 months. And even these sharp sell-offs starting closer to 28,000, which eventually forced the Dow Jones to dip towards this 38.2% Fibonacci retracement. But as expected, we had a strong support zone of these prior swing highs, these consolidation highs, as well as these 38.2% Fibonacci retracement support. So from those levels, we have seen this phenomenal recovery as well, and these decline have now largely vanished. And as you can notice here, even in this week, we have seen this consolidation with upward bias continue, and in today's session again fresh buying momentum is coming in on the lower levels, and after consolidating closer to 26,000 zone, we are seeing fresh momentum which has added to the gains of more than 1 percentage point as we speak. And I think at the bare minimum we can pretty much expect this immediate swing high established during this week to be retested, and my immediate target is working out close to 27,000 zone. So for a day or two, I am expecting the Dow Jones Industrial Average to try to retest this immediate swing high and rise towards 27,000 zone. And if things go well, we can even see this immediate swing high of around 27,500 can be retested. So that is a possibility here. Now coming to the 4 hourly chart here, because of this consolidation and this prior decline, we have seen this flattening of the regression curve. But even though the regression curve has flattened to some extent, still I think this is not the time to look for short selling opportunities. Of course, we will need a fresh break if we are going to go for a short sell, and as we have already seen this consolidation, and even though there was this strong resistance zone in play, we haven't really seen a sharp decline on the lower side. We had this fall, and then from this central pivot point area we got the support, and the price action climbed back, and now it has tried to stick closer to this first resistance of this month's pivot point series. So here it looks like that we will continue to see this bullish momentum to play out very well, and unless and until there is an immediate break below this swing low established closer to 25,700, I am not really betting on a sustained fall. Rather than that, I am in favor of a long position, and for that I think the 26,000 area can be the area of interest for us. So moving on to the 1 hourly chart, we have this confluence of 50, 100 and 200 SMAs in the area closer to 26,000, and here we have immediate swing lows around 25,800. So as I said, on the lower side, any stop loss closer to 25,700 should be good enough, just little lower than the immediate swing low, and any buying opportunity as was the case in the earlier hours of today's trading session. If suppose if you had got involved in the Dow Jones Industrial Average futures, as the US equity markets were closed, but the futures trade 24 hours, and if any of you are awake and if you were trading, then I think in the morning there was an excellent opportunity. Even in yesterday's session, we had talked about the possibilities of equity indices continuing to move higher. We had considered the Nasdaq in yesterday's trading session. Now, in today's trading session, as we have this fresh breakout about 200 SMA area, we are continuing to bet on the possibility of Dow Jones Industrial Average continuing moving higher, and I think even if we get fortunate enough, and if we see a fresh dip anywhere closer to 26,000, then I think that will be an opportunity to get involved. And as I said, any stop loss closer to 25,700 should be good enough. So for a risk of around 1 percentage point, just little over 1 percentage point, we can target almost 3 percentage point move on the higher side, and this is a risk reward ratio which will be better than even 1 is to 2, so almost closer to 1 is to 3. And suppose if we don't really get that chance, then I think in today's trading session we will need to sit out on the sidelines. But in Monday's trading session, we are likely to get fresh opportunities. And then, if we don't really see any correction happening on the lower side, then I think any buying opportunity closer to 50 SMA can be looked into, as I am expecting the 50 SMA to also catch up as the price action has crossed above these 200 SMA zone. Moving on to the gold technical outlook. This is the gold's chart, and this rally and this consolidation has been phenomenal for the gold, and we haven't really seen significant dip in the gold's fortune. Rather than that, gold is shining bright, even though the equity segment have turned in a V-phase manner. There is this V-shaped recovery going on in the equity sector, and a similar kind of story is also playing out, and even in a better manner in the gold. So we have this scenario where the equity segment is also going higher, and gold is also going higher, and only the dollar index is losing value, and that is because of the Federal Reserve's quantitative easing program. So here, this rally I am expecting is likely to continue for a while, and we can even expect fresh swing highs, fresh all-time, and not all-time highs. We have all-time highs above 1,900 USD per ounce, so we are almost 10 percentage point away from that. But immediate swing high can be expected, and if that is going to happen, then of course our job is to look for any opportunity on which we can think about going long. So here, this consolidation which has been going on for last 3 to 4 trading sessions closer to the central pivot point is now giving more and more hope for us to feel optimistic about the possibility of gold holding on to this zone, and rather than having a fresh break on the upper side. So this is the immediate swing high area around 1745, and I think it is likely to be breached in coming days, and we can indeed expect a fresh move toward this 1765 zone. So if that is going to happen, then of course we have to minimize our stop losses and maximize our target price, and for that we can rely on the hourly time frame chart, where we have this price action formation of higher highs and higher lows. So here, these all three immediate swing lows have been on the higher side, and even this time around the fall has been less, and we have seen turnaround, and now the price action is continuing to move higher in today's trading session after this consolidation closer to 1725. This move on the upper side, and now we have this fresh break, not exactly fresh break, but we are actually eyeing a fresh break. So any move above 1740 will open up the possibility of gold moving towards 1765. It's a recent high. So if that is going to happen, then I think we can indeed look for any buying opportunity closer to the 50 SMA area. That was the case in the earlier hours of today's trading session. Now we have to wait out at least for some time till we get the fresh opportunity where our risk will be minimum. For that, I think we should allow the 50 SMA to catch up with the price action here, and as long as this formation of higher highs and higher lows is intact, I think we can continue to bet on the positive momentum to continue, and we can bet on the upside with immediate swing low being around 1717. I think a stop loss of 1715 should be good enough. So any buying opportunity in the price band of 1725 to 1730 should be good enough, and with that we can take a risk of around 1 percentage point, and on the upper side we can expect the move even above 1765, as I said. if we don't really want to wait till the fresh swing high is established, I think even 1 is to 1 risk reward ratio should be good enough, or you can even adopt a strategy of partial profit booking and allowing the partial positions to remain open. So that's it from my side for today's webinar session. And if any of you have any query or any idea to share, I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while utilizing the information provided. Have a fabulous day ahead and absolutely fantastic weekend as well.